Hello to the streaming on the Metatron channel. So let's just wait for people to show up and then we'll begin our discussion as every month. Two people, hello, welcome to the streaming. Traditional Japanese, oh gosh, you were very early, weren't you? Yeah, I think I'll make just a video on historical underwear and then I'll put that information as well. Hello everyone. Spartan versus Samurai, please. That's pretty cool. Incredibilis. Bit of Latin out there. Why not? Salve. Hello. I'm glad you like my channel. Thank you so much. So welcome to this monthly appointment because every month on the 15th of each month at this time specifically, there's going to be a streaming on this channel. So today, as you can see, we're going to talk about my collection of weapon and armor and other things. And also, gosh, that's a lot of messages. And also weapons, armor, miniatures, video games. Yeah, why not? Let's talk about everything. Konnichiwa. Hello. I love your content that says cheesy big. Well, thank you so much. Thanks ever so. Salve. So let's begin with the questions, and then I'll show helmets and armor. I've prepared everything here. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. So a question from Fallout Zone G. What was your main study at university? Well, I graduated from the University of Naples. Specifically, it's called Orientale, which in English translates as Oriental. I understand that in English that word is a little bit charged sometimes with negativity, not in Italian. It just means Far Eastern studies, really. And so, yeah, my major was Japanese language and English, but I also had a few minors in history, including Roman history, of course. So that was that. Lotus says, best history channel on YouTube. Well, thank you so much for thinking so. I think there are a lot of other channels that really probably deserve that more than me, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Lotus says, O genki desu ka in Japanese, and I answer back, genki desu yo, so I'm very well. Thank you. Can't wait, full sets, Japanese armor. Today I'm going to show you my Japanese stuff as well. In fact, I've got here, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, high carbon steel katana here, which also has the logo imprinted with laser on of the channel. So Metatron's Cube, silk, very nice. This is a very nice, and I'm actually planning on making a video together with my Katori Shintoryu sensei where we will evaluate this and perhaps make a professional guide on how to get a custom-made katana right for you, whether you're a Iaido practitioner, whether you're a Kenjutsu practitioner, or whether you're just someone who likes katana. Of course, there are some parameters that need to be taken care of. When I had this katana made for me, before ordering it, I went to my Katori Shintoryu sensei and asked him to give me some advice. So it's always good to receive advice from the professionals. So that's that. So I am going to make that video too. Just Skip says, Metatron, I'm impressed by your knowledge of languages and experience with Finnish. No, I have no experience with Finnish. Thank you so much, by the way. Yeah, I like studying languages. That's what I did, and that's what I used to do. I still do, occasionally, but yeah, there is that. What do you think about the Thracians and Norse being connected? I don't really know much about connection between the two, but I do like Thracians. And I particularly like the Gladiator, which is inspired on Thracians. So there's that. What are your thoughts, says Anon Sandifer, I don't know. What are your thoughts on using a lamp or torch in combat? A lamp, I imagine from a medieval perspective, we do have the lamp shield, which was kind of cool. Torch in combat, absolutely. I mean, you've got some of those tactical torches with a few thousands of lumen power. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once I was talking to an American former Marine. Well, once you're a Marine, always a Marine, suppose. But yes, a Marine guy, and we were talking, and he was talking specifically about this, and he's like, "Oh yeah, he always carries a very powerful tactical torch. So what in America you call a flashlight, and And we were discussing about it. I'm like, so what do you use it for? And he's like, to blind my opponent. I'm like, so is it really that effective? And he actually showed me, meaning that he did it. He did like this very quickly on both me and my friend. We were blinded for 15 seconds. So yes, it works. In fact, I tend to bring, I do have a tactical torch. I don't know where I put it now, but I do have one, and I usually bring it with me. You never know. You majored in English, so did I. Yes, for me, English was a second language, and Japanese was my main focus. But yes, I do have a degree. My degree also includes English, which this is how I actually became then an English teacher. You speak like an old Japanese woman. I don't think I do. I don't think I do. Polearm versus plate armor. That could be a good one. That could be a good one. I do have quite a few VS videos coming up soon, so there is that. Let's see. You ever think, says Robert, you ever think about making videos on just pasta? No. No, because this is not a cooking channel. But on the other hand, maybe discussing, I did make a video on the history of pasta, actually. I think I did. Yeah, it's somewhere on the channel. I had to do it. Maybe I could do that a bit more often. Maybe historical food could be an interesting topic sometimes. Maybe. How was your trip to the US? It was very pleasant. I very much liked it. Very, very much liked it. So let's see. Are you going, says Sir Demetrios, are you going to do anything about the Eastern Roman arms and armor? Oh yeah, that would be very good. Very good. Maybe a bit more specialized content on the Byzantine Empire would be very nice. Absolutely. That would be very nice. See what I can do. We'll see what I can do. So, Metatron says Jon Snow. Jon Snow, we've got Jon Snow here, guys. Jon Snow. Would you ever consider doing a historical authenticity review of the samurai anime Shigurui? I have been talking about this with my girlfriend yesterday, actually, because she really is into anime, and I used to be. I still watch occasionally. Like, I really like the anime Blame. It has nothing to do with anything historical, but it's a very good one. Shigurui, yeah, we were talking about this. Like me, maybe, I'm not going to talk about anime on my channel per se, but I might talk about those anime that have some historical connection with what I talk about. So either anime that have knights in it, anime that have samurai, Vikings. I mean, we know there are animes about all these things. And at the end of the day, it's a form of entertainment. And I already talk about video games, I already talk about movies. So why not talking about the occasional anime? So yes, most likely. Let's see. Would you, Lotus asks, would you ever master the Nodachi? Why or why not? Well, I do own a very nice Nodachi that you can see on my wall. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a massive Nodachi on my wall over there. And that Nodachi is basically as big as it gets. It's as big as it gets. It's as tall as me. And I think I'm in Italian, it's 175, 176. Meters. I think that would make me into the range of 5'8" or 5'9", not sure. And that's how big that sword is, exactly. Like, I think it reaches here, so it's very, very close to me, it's slightly smaller. Would I learn how to use a katana? For fun, yes. For battle, no. Not really interested in the usage of the katana, but those of you who are into video games, you know that I often talk about the game For Honor on my channel, because, I mean, of course, it's a game that features Romans, knights, Vikings, and samurai and whatnot, and Chinese warriors. So, in the game For Honor, there is a character called the Kensei, which literally means swordsman in Japanese, by the way. And he is a fully armored samurai who uses a Nodachi. Now, I am producing a video which is going to be called Fighting Like the Kensei in Real Life, and I'm going to try and mimic all the moves the character does in game to see if they could be used and if it made sense and if it is possible to do what he does with a real Nodachi. So luckily, my Nodachi is as big as his, so we'll do that. We shall do that. Fan from India, love your content. Thank you so much, Rzla Silo. No idea. Yeah. Zufron Mapper says, have you speak Italian? I suppose you mean have you spoken Italian in your first videos? Not in my first videos, but I have made one full video in Italian about World War II. So you can find that. If you write Metatron World War II, you will find a video full in Italian with subtitles. And I also made a full video in Italian about Egyptian gods. And again, it has got subtitles. So if you're interested, you can check them out. Unfortunately, the video about World War II was demonetized and there was nothing I could do to get monetization back on that video. I think it's because in the video I used the word Nazi, which I mean, come on, I'm talking about Second World War. What am I supposed to do? To say the guys who shot the Americans? I don't know. What am I? You know how it is. Unfortunately, what can you do? Okay. So let's see. Oh, we've got a super chat, $10 from Cozy Strats. Thank you so much. Sorry if it took me a minute to realize, but I'm a little slow with my, with my streaming because I'm not a streamer. It takes a lot. It's very different. Okay, everything exploded, but I'm back. So by the way, if this happens, which as you can see, it does happen, I will come back. So I will not go away without saying goodbye. So if that happens, even if it takes me a minute, I will come back. So there is that. Anyways, $10 from Cozy Strats, and he says, have you ever played any Total War game? Absolutely, mate. I'll tell you a little bit about that. He says, I'd recommend Attila personally. Also, can you do a video on Polish arms armor and how it compares to other weapons of the era? How did winged hussars do? Oh, I love winged hussars. Look, the looks is amazing, like with the... Very cool. So, Total War. I haven't played Attila, although I have it, because actually one of you guys bought it for me, which I very much appreciated. What I was really obsessed with was Rome Total War. Believe me, I think I played it like 9 hours straight on few occasions. Multiplayer, local multiplayer, LAN with my friend. I loved it. So thank you so much for your donation, mate. I really appreciate it. Thank you. TVD Diagos says you should play Mordhau. I tried it once. I'll see if I can do it again. Absolutely, I should download it again. I was hoping that they would get it on consoles as well, because my computer now, as I said many times, it's like a potato. I can't play Mordhau. Maybe I could, but I have to remove weapons, grass, water, characters, so shadows, everything. So I wish they did it on. I wish they did put it on PS4. Peter Egomi says thoughts on Jormungandr. I think that's the For Honor guy with the Warhammer. I love playing him. It's really fun to play. It's a little OP, but never as OP as the frigging Hitokiri. The Hitokiri, the samurai woman with the axe, I hate that character. It's frigging broken. Really, literally, it's ridiculous. Maybe I'll make a rant about it. Maybe I'll make a rant. We have a comment in Italian from Nikim Crow. I'll read it in Italian and I'll translate it for you. Ciao Raf, come va? Volevo chiederti se dovessi per necessità procurarmi un'armatura di fortuna, su cosa punteresti in un ipotetico scenario disperato. So he's saying, hey Raf, how you doing? Raf is me, by the way, that's my name. I wanted to ask if you had to get your hands into a, what shall we call it? Like a necessity armor set. What would you get in a desperate scenario? So if I don't have the means, I suppose, the wherewithal to get my hands on real armor, what would I do? Anything that protects my torso, maybe mail. Maybe mail would be something versatile, perhaps not too difficult. Of course, my favorite thing would be plate, but if I don't have access to plate, maybe something that has to do with mail because it's movable, it allows me to, but definitely the first thing would be a helmet. So something even in the lines of this beautiful and fully, as you can see, lined. This is today I'm a little asleep. Sorry guys if I'm I didn't sleep very well. So this is a chapelle d'arme, cappello d'arme, I can think in Italian. Battle hat, metal hat, iron hat, that's it. Kettle hat, finally, made by craftsmen of Taurica. Steel, mild steel, mind you. Very beautiful. Even if this doesn't grant protection for my face, it still protects me very well. I think it's 2mm thick, by the way. This Muppet is a heavy Muppet, and it's a heavy duty one. And this is pretty good because it still allows me to breathe, to see, to hear. It's a good helmet. Not as protective as knightly helmets, but it's still a good helmet. So if that's all I had, I would definitely use it. Absolutely, absolutely. Hello Metatron sends Epic Gamer 420. Hello to you. I think he's got a YouTube channel, by the way. So pretty cool. Keep up the good work. Okay. Let's see. Do you like martial arts? Yes, I do. I practice. I'm not very good at them, I'll have to be honest, but I practice Kyokushin Karate. Before that, I practiced Shotokan Karate. And I also practiced Katori Shinto-ryu. I tried Kendo. I tried loads of different things. I even did a couple of, I did get a few belts in Taekwondo when I was like 16. So I did try a few styles. Not particularly excelled in any, but that's that. Celto-Germanic says, Morrowind, Oblivion or Skyrim. I'm going to say Oblivion. Can't help it. I just like it. Morrowind is the best RPG experience, but I hate the combat. Skyrim is very good, of course, but Oblivion still is my favorite. Can't help it. So yeah. Let's see. Anon says, my friend still says that a sword can slash through plate armor. Can you talk about this briefly? Well, pal, you can, it just doesn't work. Steel doesn't cut steel. It doesn't matter what sword it is, unless you get, a laser sword could. So I think it depends what the sword is made of. But if the sword is made of bronze, if it's made of steel, if it's made of iron, this is a very nice katana. And this is plate. There's no way I can do this all day. It's not gonna cut through it. It's just tough luck, I suppose. It's just how it is. So, we've got another question from Loka Haska. They'll give up on pronouncing that. Are there plans for a meetup with Skallagrim? He's on the East Coast now. Oh, I didn't know he moved. Absolutely. As you know, I'm going to move to America, possibly in March or April. So, yeah, once I'm in America, I will be meeting with Rand. I will be meeting with, hopefully, Ian Laspina, and we'll see if Skallagrim moved to America. Absolutely. If you remember, when I went to Britain, I met up with both Matt Easton and with Night Squire. I met both. So whenever I go, if there is a YouTuber I know, I'm going to meet them. Absolutely. And to be honest, it doesn't even matter how many subs they have. If it's, for me, in terms of like collaborations, if it's someone who has got good quality content and a desire, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if of course, I won't be what was I going to say? I want to be transparent. I won't be like a hypocrite. Of course, if I have a channel who wants to collaborate with me, who has got like 5 million subs, I'm going to be like, whoa, I can't believe it. This is going to be so good for the growth of my channel. Of course, that's going to get me more excited. But on the other hand, you don't have to have 1 million subs to collab with me. Again, you just have to have quality. If you have quality and maybe you weren't lucky and you get like 50 subs, absolutely. Why not? Kettle helmets are the best. Well, they're not my favorite, but I love this. Like, I'm going to show it again. I just love it too much. So on the right here, I've got my kettle helmet, kettle hat. And on the left, I've got another helmet, which is my Roman Imperial Gallic Type H. And I actually just finished oiling it. And I showed a small video of me oiling it on my Instagram that you can find, Method on YouTube. And there you go, nice and shiny. Of course, there is a difference in quality between this helmet and the one that I just showed you, because the kettle hat was made specifically by a craftsman. This was mass produced in India. So, but it's still pretty good. It's still good if you are into reenactment, but eventually it would be good to have a helmet tailored for you, even if you're reenacting Rome. The difference, though, is that for some reasons, Roman helmets that are made, mass-produced in India, generally speaking, they are still good. But medieval helmets don't even get close, guys. You have to find a craftsman. Otherwise, it's just garbage, unfortunately. So there is that. Do you still teach? Yes, I do. I teach a lot less than I used to, but I still have like a class of Japanese, a couple of classes of Japanese, and I have a class of English that I teach, an English class, and a couple of English classes actually. But I used to teach full time. Now I just teach like a couple of times a week. So that's why, because I'm focusing on content production. So now I'm focusing on my channel, and there is that. Okay. Let's see. I'm reading a little bit. Rome versus Greece, and they were both the strongest. Who would win and why? I made a video, Roman army versus Greek army, or Rome versus Greece. Unfortunately, it's one of those videos that got a lot of views. It got over 1 million views. And you're like, why are you saying unfortunately? No, I'm happy with that. But it's a video that I made a long time ago, and that's before I started taking YouTube more like a job, which means that the quality of the production is very low. Like I rumble a lot, I take forever to get to the point. Sometimes it was ridiculous. Like sometimes I would begin the video, speak for 3 minutes and still not get to the point. You know, it takes time to learn how to make videos entertaining, educational, interesting, original. You know, there are a lot of adjectives that go there which have to do with the success of a channel. Sometimes you can have someone who has got like really, really good knowledge, but the videos are just boring. It happens. And other times you have someone who makes videos really interesting, but they're not good in terms of what they teach. So it's not easy to get everything together. Everything Medieval, I just used the word, just gave me a $5 donation. Thank you so much. And there are more donations. I'm going to check them all out now. Thank you so much, guys, for everyone who's donating. I really appreciate it. And he says, hey, Raffaello, do you have a post office box so the fund can send you something by mail? I don't, but I will. I'm planning on making one probably when I move in America. When I move to America, I will find one, because in Italy it's not easy to get that. But in America, absolutely. So as soon as I get that, I'll just post it everywhere so that you guys know. And of course, I would appreciate that very much. Thank you so much for your donation, mate. I think we've got, yeah, there you go. $20 from Andrew Salhani. Thank you for your donation, my friend. Thank you. He says, disregarding the assumptions about the reasons behind its fall, is rise and fall of the Roman Empire accurate in regards to the political movements and military descriptions? Seems to be a lot of debate on its relevance. Thanks. Are you talking about a specific show? Because rise and fall of the Roman Empire, I think I haven't watched it, if it's a show you're talking about. But definitely, there is a lot to say about the rise and fall of an empire in general, whether it be Rome, whether it be the Ottoman Empire, whatever empire it may be. Oftentimes, I think because we are looking for an intellectual satisfaction when we look at history, we want history to play in a specific way, okay? And so we're like, oh, this is the reason why the empire fell. But there are so many things that play their parts that sometimes we just give more importance to certain things. This is something actually that Dr. Capel says as well. So again, you want to know why an empire fell, you got to study the entire history of that empire and understand, and also the situation around of the other empires and political powers around it, and the economic situation. It's not just military. There are a lot of things that go into that. So perhaps fuel for a video eventually. Noel Ebert says, hey mate, glad you're coming to America. Hopefully we can meet up sometimes. I live in Mississippi. Okay, I don't know how far Mississippi is from Tennessee, which is where I'm going to live. But yeah, sure. Okay, so we've got a linguistic question asking for advice in Italian again. So let me read it and translate. Il tizio che parla, potresti darmi qualche dritta su come imparare la pronuncia del TH inglese? Comunque complimenti per il canale, grazie mille. So he's asking me for some advice on how to pronounce the TH in English, and then he says, congratulations for your channel. I do have advice, and that's what I teach my students. And the reason why he's asking this is because, you see, in standard Italian and in all dialects in Italian, exception being some dialects in Tuscany, we do not have the pronunciation, the sound th in our language. And it's kind of interesting because Spanish has it, Greek has it, English has it, and standard Italian doesn't. But for some reason, some people in Tuscany do. Now, if you're not from Tuscany, and you don't know how to make this sound because it's very different. If you notice, lots of Italians who try to speak English, they will change it into a T sound. So when you're supposed to say think and you say think, and then you're supposed to say mother and you end up saying mader with a D, and that's wrong. So the way to do this is what I always tell my students is when you need to make the sound th, particularly the unvoiced version, the one that we use in thank you and think, the first thing you need to realize is that it has nothing to do with the sound T. Okay, nothing to it. Doesn't matter that it's created with the T and the H. The moment you put an H next to a T, the T sound has nothing to do with it anymore, and it's actually closer to the F sound. So when you make a T sound, you cannot make it last as long as you want because you say T. and it's already finished. T. If you want to make it longer, you need to repeat it. T, 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 t. But even if you're like, you create the sound T, you're actually lengthening the vowel, not the T sound. Instead, with an F, you can do as long as you want, and that's the same with TH. So these sounds have a lot more in common. So what you do is that you think the way you create the F, so you're blowing air, and then you blow air with the tongue in between your teeth. That's how you create it. Think, thank you. And that's that. That's a trick. So it has nothing to do with T, it is a lot closer to F. So if you know how to make F, you know how to make TH, just need to blow air. That's how you do it. Okay, question from, I hope that was useful. The Ghost Hero, what's your favorite non-European type of armor, excluding samurai armor? I was about to say a samurai armor. I like some Chinese armor of the Ming dynasty and also of Han dynasty. Like I really like the sort of armor that we see on the terracotta army soldiers from the first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huangdi. And that sort of armor I would really love to own. And actually, interestingly enough, you know, Iron Mountain Armory, the producers of the sort of armor that I own, samurai armor, they actually started to produce Chinese armor as well. So if you ask them, they will. You will not find Chinese armor most likely on their site, but they can make it if you ask for specific reproductions. And I suppose that having that sort of armor reproduced would be a possibility, having the budget for it, of course. What's your favorite YouTuber? Too difficult to answer as a question because it depends on my mood. Depends on my mood. I do have quite a few YouTubers that I watch regularly. Matt Easton, of course, Scholar Gladiatoria is one of them. I watch regularly Ian Laspina, Knight Errant. I watch Shad. I watch Scalagrim. I actually watch everyone in the community of the sword, to be honest. And but I also like YouTubers that have nothing to do with the community of the sword. I watch Matthew Santoro. Don't really watch PewDiePie much, occasionally, or very occasionally. But I really like Dave from Boyne Band. Very cool guy, very cool guy. So yeah, there are quite a few. So there is that. Yeah. Question from King Jim Crafty, and he says, why is the Roman scutum a horizontal shield, and what is its purpose? Okay, so since we're going to talk a little bit about the Roman shield now to answer this question, I'm going to show you some of the shields that I've got, because this again is a showing of my collection video as well. So of a Roman imperial scutum, plural scuta, made by Fabrica Cacti. It's hand painted, very, very beautiful work. It's covered, the wooden core is plywood, by the way, because the Romans used plywood. It's a few layers of plywood, and it's covered in fabric, and then it has a metal brim, although a leather, or maybe rawhide, should we say, brim is also historical. I just personally tend to prefer brass over rawhide, just a personal preference. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the grip of a Roman helmet, it actually works like a briefcase. Right? So basically, you slip your hand in there like this. So, the reason why they use these kind of shields is because they cover your body almost entirely. And what you want to do is that it's going to protect you from missile fire, it's going to protect you from arrows, it's going to protect you from sword cuts and axe attacks and anything. And it allows you to get really close to your opponent. And that's where the gladius, so the Roman sword, is mostly advantageous. It's a very, very good thrust and slash weapon, mostly thrust, but also slash. And so that's why the big shields were used. Here's another one. Now this is a Republican kind of shield. So it's a replica of the sort of shields that we find in more, in those kind of miniatures and representations of Roman legionaries that have to do with the late Republic and sometimes early Republic. And again, it's held the same way, as you can see. And it's covering my whole body. Very difficult to go through one of these. And these are the sort of shields that then inspire the fantasy concept of the tower shield. No shield in history was ever called a tower shield, but there were shields that were basically what tower shields are in role-playing games. Some would be the Roman scuta, and others could be, of course, the my favorite kind of shield, which is the palvis, or pavese, palvese, if you want to say it the Italian way. So that's that. So again, maximizing protection. They're specifically designed for heavy infantry. And I've got another one here because I've got a few shields. This is my first shield actually, because it's one of the mass-produced ones in India, and it's good as a starter shield. But eventually you want to go craftsman, because I mean, look at the difference between the two. Massive difference. And then I've got another shield over there, which was sent by a friend of mine who is also a historical reenactor. I'm gonna sit down again because I imagine I'm moving a lot, and this is a little messy. There you go. So we're back. Let me see a few other questions, and I think we've got 10 whatever currency that is from Joao Victor Fernandez. Thank you for your donation, my friend. Any thoughts on the Conquistador? Oh yes, loads to say. I used to have a Morion, the kind of helmet that is often sort of associated with the Conquistador, although the early Conquistadors probably didn't even wear those. It's more of a later thing. Conquistador, yes, there is a lot to say about them. I like the armor. I wonder, because unfortunately you see, whenever there is battle, whenever there is war, it's always a horror show, unfortunately. I mean, the things that they have done to the Native Americans is like, but I think that that's something that it kind of, everyone really, there is no single nation that whenever they had a chance and they invaded someone and there was war, they didn't do criminal things and they didn't do crimes, unfortunately. War is an awful thing. So what the conquistadors did, well, not a very nice thing at all. But the armor looked cool, and I love the helmets. So there's that. So Celto-Germanic, why didn't you filthy Romans use soap? You instead used olive oil, and if having oily hands was clean. Well, we don't really know how they used oil. I think you are referring to a video from Modern History TV. I agree with what he said. When you say Romans, though, you have to consider that by the times of the full extension of the Roman Empire, we are dealing with a lot of cultures. So maybe Italian Romans didn't. We can't really speak for every single province of the empire, because we are talking about very different cultures, languages, and situations. Even if they were Romans, they would have had a different approach to life. So yeah, well, anyways, at the end of the day, I mean, water cleans you quite well, unless you are really, really dirty, but still water cleans you well, even without soap. Soap makes it better, of course, a lot better, depending on what you've got. If you've got grease in your hand. Yeah, we don't really know how the Romans used oil, but we do know that they did. I'll have to do a little research on that, see what I can find. Show us your guns. I don't have guns. No, I do have a gun. I have the Arquebus. I'll show you in a minute. Absolutely. Difference between imperial and republican Rome. Huge difference. Massive topic. It's not just political. I mean, if we tackle the political aspect alone, goodness gracious, this is going to be like the longest streaming on the planet. And then if we talk military, we even got even further. I still prefer the early empire, though. I'm very much into the Principate. I'll see if I can make it. I wanted to make a Roman Empire versus Roman Republic. There is the trailer on the channel, and some people have been asking me, like, why haven't you actually made it? No, I am making it, but it's taking me forever to make it because it's a massive topic. So I don't want to make it like a quick video that doesn't tackle all the important aspects, but on the other hand, I want to make it entertaining. So that requires a lot of editing and a lot of filming and scripting and blah and blah and blah. So I'll tackle it eventually on the channel. It's in the making. JMD Productions just donated $1.99. Thank you so much. $2. Thank you. Rome versus Greece. If Sparta was intact. Whoa. Yeah. Spartans. That's an interesting one. That would be an interesting one. it could make it into one of the what if series. I do have a speculative series. The reason why I kind of stopped is because it's not really doing very well in terms of views, and you know how things are on YouTube. On Patreon I have more freedom. On Patreon I make what people ask, what my patrons ask, and I can make whatever I feel like, because views are not important, because there is an income coming for the productions. But on YouTube, unfortunately, we content creators have to deal with views. If a video doesn't get views, and you just keep on making a series and it gets less and less views, it's going to be a problem for the channel. It's just how YouTube is. But we'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. Good afternoon, Metal, and how are you? Asks Alexander Santos. I'm very well, thank you very much. How are you doing? Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Funny, someone says about the Republic versus Empire video, someone says make it as long as you want and need. I'll see, I'll do that. That would be funny, it's interesting because Lindy Badge is another channel I really like. Lindy Badge sometimes makes like 1 hour, 1 hour and a half videos, like he can talk. Goodness gracious, that guy can talk. It'd be interesting to make like a 2.5 hours video on Republics versus Empire. That would be a funny one. I'd like to make it just to see what happens, how people react to that. It would be hilarious. I might consider it. Talking about Athens versus Sparta, have you guys played Assassin's Creed Odyssey? Because I surely have, and I didn't finish it, but I did go through. I did reach Athens. And one thing I really liked about the game is that you can choose to support either Sparta or Athens. And it's really cool because what you do and the battles you win change the map, and which territories are blue, so under Athenian control, and which territories are red under Sparta controls, and it kind of changes the sort of soldiers that populate these areas. I thought it was a brilliant idea. And by the way, I support Athens in that game, so there is that. Everything is turning blue now because of me playing as a mercenary for Athens. £10 from Callum Ross. Thank you for your donation, my friend. This is really helping in a moment that is not the easiest on YouTube, unfortunately. Thank you so much. Have a question, but character count was too much, so I'll post it in the comments if that's okay. Absolutely, yeah. I'll read the comments probably tomorrow. I'll read the comments, so feel free to do that. Absolutely. Okay, what is your favorite Roman emperor? I'm gonna say Octavianus Augustus is my favorite. Absolutely. Right. So let's see. Oh, that's funny. Someone says about the Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I allowed Spartans to rule Athens and Spartan to... okay, so you allowed Spartans to rule Athens, and I suppose Athens to rule Sparta. That would be funny. I didn't even know you could do that in the game. It's funny. What platform do you play For Honor on? PS4. I play it on PS4. Because again, I say I can't play it on my PC. You look incredibly tired. I am tired. Yeah, I didn't sleep very well last night. I don't know why. Favorite language? Difficult to say. I'm going to say favorite languages. I really like English. I really like Italian, my language, when well spoken. And I'm very much into Mandarin, Chinese, and Japanese. These are the languages that I really like. But I also like modern Greek. There are so many languages. I'm interested in German. I just never had a chance to study it, unfortunately. And there you go. What part of Tennessee are you moving to? I'm going to move to the Nashville area, not far from Nashville. So that's that. Have you ever thought, so Golden Eagle says, have you ever thought of doing a massive Silk Road collaboration? I mean, like 20 YouTubers each make a video on the Silk Road. That could be cool, but I don't know if a video on the Silk Road would get the views, to be honest. So I don't know if I could get enough YouTubers interested in that, to be honest. Interested in making that. We'll see. So we'll see what happens. Okay, let me show you a few other pieces in my collection, since this is what I promised. Let's see. So here you have seen this many times, but this is my breastplate. It was made by the Forge of Svan, and it's a late 14th century kind of breastplate. It's made of tempered steel, so this is quite hard, and it's got the stop rib that we have seen in the armor versus Arrows video from Tom's workshop. It's got the V. Now historical ones tend to have this slightly higher. I don't know why Forge Swan decided to place it exactly center, but I'm fine with that. Anyways, this was incredibly cheap, so I can't complain. It's well made, globular. It's made specifically for my body. It fits me well, so I can't complain. We also have, as you know, my 15th century Armin doublet here. This was made by Medieval Design. They're also making my trousers. Well, we can't really call them trousers. They're called calzabraghe and tailored. And this has got all the pointing areas for plate to be pointed at it directly. It's got quite a few. It also has pointing for the legs over here, if I can show it. It's got the pointing for the legs. I chose buttons over lacing because I don't want to be bothered doing the lacing every single time I wear it. Buttons are a lot easier for that, and they're still historically valid. Yeah, and I actually made a dedicated video if you haven't watched it. It's called My 15th Century Armin Doublet. So if you haven't checked it, check it out. This is my Lorica Segmentata, custom made by Fabbrica Cacti. Again, mild steel, brass, copper for these areas here, and leather. It's a very, very beautiful and armor. And one thing is that since it's tailored for my body, this means that you need a lot less metal to cover you up, because oftentimes when you buy off-the-shelf segmentata made in India, some of the problems is they're too big. So they look cylindrical. There is so much more metal that you don't need, which means it's going to be heavier, it's not going to sit well on your body, whereas this one is actually quite tight, to the point that if I eat too much pasta, I might not be able to wear this. So that's something I need to keep in mind. Then, let me see. By the way, have I ever showed you my collection of Warhammer miniatures? And by the way, there is a donation. Let me see. There you go. $5 from Orchestrated Catastrophe. Hey, Metrodon, really love the content you provide. Thank you so much. I'm interested in medieval Russian weapons and armor. Do you know anything? Thanks in advance. I'm not very versed on that. I don't know much about that, but it could be an interesting thing to study. Absolutely, I'll see what I can do. So let me show you my Warhammer miniatures collection. It's a lot of stuff. Some of it is actually I'm going to sell. So this is my High Elves. Then we've got Orcs and Goblins. Then we've got my Bretonnians. They've got loads of Bretonnians, guys. And more Bretonnians. There we go. And then we have Chaos. And we have more Goblins, because they're cool. And down here we've got Dwarfs. And then some miscellaneous stuff. Loads of, sorry for that was a little quick, but it's kind of difficult to do it without even looking at it. So yeah, no, I really like, let me show you. So I really like painting these guys. It's a lot of fun. See if the camera can see this. And I really like my Chaos Warriors, and I like, doing the little grass on the base and everything. I play Mortal Chaos. I don't play Demonic Chaos because I like troops. I want to see knights. I want to see soldiers. I don't care for demons and monsters. And sometimes it means that I lose battles, but I don't care because I just play for fun. Also, my dwarfs are all painted, and they're actually quite well painted because I did not paint these guys. I got them painted already, and I think they look stupendous. So yeah, I'm going to be selling some of these, but I will keep most of them. And I think when I'll go to America, one of the things that I will do will be to try and look for people who play, so that I can go to, I don't know, a leisure center, whatever, Warhammer Games Workshop, nerd area, where I can challenge people and play some good old fantasy. I don't play Age of Sigmar because I like regimented fighting, and I hate the fact that in Age of Sigmar they've got the round bases, and it's not meant to be played with ranks. And sorry, but so I just play either the 9th edition or I play the 8th edition. That's what I do. So there is that. Let's see. I don't know why Fantasy Knights always wore buffalo horns. I prefer rhino horns. You can trust. That's funny. Okay, so let's see. Could you do an update on the For Honor Hero tier list? Yes, that's in the making. That's in the making as well. So I'm gonna make a video which is gonna be a top 10 feudal Japan myths video. It's gonna be a video that I will upload on the 20th of this month, and it's gonna be sponsored actually. So if you guys want to check that out, consider that it's going to help me out as well, because sponsored videos help out this channel a lot. Before that, I think I don't want to do too many top 10 one next to the other, and the For Honor one would probably be a top 10, or maybe not, I'll see. The last one I made got over 700k views, so definitely I'm doing a remake with all the new heroes. Absolutely, see who would be the real hero, the strongest hero in real life if For Honor heroes were real. So there is that. Let's move to the weapons section. Let me show you my weapons section without. There you go. So here we have got. I still have my Elgar sword, and this is a thing of beauty. This is a thing of beauty. So this sword is, as you can see, made by Elgar Sword Makery. It's spring steel, hand forged, hammered to perfection, if you don't mind me say so. And it's very, very light. It's a one-handed sword. It's like an arming sword, spada di lato in Italian. And it's beautiful. It's got that shine that I really like, the cross-section metal. I love it. This is a wonderful sword. And actually, when I got this, his prices were half as much as now. He doubled, rightly so, because he's really good. He doubled his prices immediately after I actually ordered it. So I managed to get it half price, which is always nice. We have got a Japanese replica from Iron Mountain Armory of the Japanese matchlock type arquebus that was used and very common in the 16th century and used by samurai class. Oda Nobunaga and all those battles against the Takeda clan. Well, these, the gunners were a thing among the samurai class. Absolutely, absolutely. Then, still talking samurai and warriors, we've got a Japanese kanabo, and this was made by a fan, and it's beautiful, very nice. And I used it, I swung it around for fun. I hit water bottles with it, and it was fun to do it. And it was a fun exercise. And what I wanted to do, if you agree, is that I'd like to take one of my Roman helmets and try and hit it as hard as I can with that and see what happens. That could be an interesting experiment. Will you continue teaching in Tennessee? At first, probably not, because I'd like to focus on YouTube content production. And also because through Patreon now I offer private lessons. So depending on how many of those I will have, I might not have enough time to teach classes. But on the other hand, if something happens and AdSense goes down again and I need to round up a little bit my salary, I might accept a class or two when I'm in Tennessee, because again, of course, I can't teach English there, but I could teach Italian or I could teach Japanese. I am more qualified to teach Japanese than I am to teach Italian, but some people don't care about that. They just care for you to be a native, and I am a native, so... Gladius Hispaniensis. Boom. No, that's a Mainz Gladius, sorry. It's a Mainz Gladius. It's a little bit of a cheap one, but it's nice. So that's another one of the swords that I have. Then let me put it back. There you go. So the Nodachi, as I showed you, this was sold to me by a friend. So I managed to get it for a interesting price. It wasn't too expensive. And here we've got the big guy, Samurai. So we've got the full Samurai armor by Iron Mountain Armory, still in excellent condition, regardless of the fact that I've used it again and again and again and again. So one thing I'd like to do, and we'll see if I can manage to do it soon, is to horseback ride in Samurai armor, maybe get like a black horse and wear my full Samurai armor and perhaps even the Nodachi. Oh gosh, that's gonna be amazing. So it'll be a very nice, very good for pictures as well. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. £5 from Callum Ross. Thank you so much. Do you think Vikings had some form of shield wall due to Roman influences of their Germanic ancestry, or is in my theory too far-fetched? It's interesting, but we can't really support it. I mean, it could be, or it could just well be that it was sort of common knowledge by then. I mean, I think, well, the Romans weren't the only ones to use shield walls. I mean, the Greeks did before loads of different countries and cultures did, because at the end of the day, I think if you have the technology to make shields and you fight information, a shield wall is a little bit of an obvious thing eventually to try and do. So yeah, Viking shield walls are very interesting because, of course, the round shields interact in a different way than the rectangular shields used by the Romans, but still. And then again, the Romans did use parma and round shields as well. Because as far as I know, they didn't use those in formation combat, but yeah, that could be interesting. Absolutely. Let's see. What are your opinions, says, is this a bonfire? So Dark Souls player. What are your opinions on Gaius Julius Caesar, both as a military general and a Roman politician? Well, as a general, he was a frigging genius. No arguing with that. And as a politician, I probably wouldn't have voted him, but unless that would have meant cutting my head, in which case I would have voted him. Personally, he is very much into propaganda. He was very much into propaganda. If you consider the De Bello Gallico, so the book that we read, it was mostly propaganda. I mean, a lot of it was true, but it was always through the eyes of someone who wants to show the Senate, I'm successful, I'm powerful, I can do this, so don't you mess with me. Okay, that's what that book is telling us. So, you can respect the strategy there, but there is that. $5 from Daniel Amaral. Hey, thank you so much. Grazie mille. Arigato. Sie. Hey, have you seen Angolmois? No, I haven't. Record of a Mongolian invasion. I haven't seen it. No, I'll have to write it down. It's about the first invasion of Tsushima in 1274. A video of your opinion would be cool. I'll see. Thank you for that. I wanted to talk about Mongolian invasions because I never did on my channel, and there was that game. By the way, where is that game, Ghost of Tsushima? When is that game coming out? Because that one is about the Mongolian invasion, and here's the thing. One thing I've learned about YouTube content production. If I make a video and I title it, it's like, let's say it's a lecture, and I title it The Mongolian Invasion of Japan. The only people who are going to click it are history buffs. If I make a video on Ghost of Tsushima and the Mongolian invasion of Japan, loads of more people will click it because I'm going to get the clicks from history buffs and lovers of video games. So on this channel, you'll have to a little bit expect that. It doesn't mean that I won't make just full lectures anymore. I definitely will. But I will sometimes use the media because I think there is nothing wrong with it. At the end of the day, it will get more clicks, but most importantly, it will make the lecture less scary to the youth. And to be honest, I'm a teacher, as you know, but the ages that I teach are high school. So for me, if a video game is the way I can get a lot of youth interested in the historical facts behind the game, so be it. Absolutely. I mean, I like games anyways, so it's not like I'm doing something that I'm not interested in anyways. So yes, expect that if you're, so the reason why I'm saying this is that if you are one of those guys who are really into history and you don't care about video games and you see me publish a video about Ghost of Tsushima, well, click it because there will be a lot of, it might be my way to make a full history lecture more accessible. So there is that. Alex White, $5. I saw your video. Thank you, friend. I saw your video on different languages accent being important. I wanted your opinion on a Japanese accent to imitate, as some accents are preferred. Tokyo, definitely Tokyo. Or in general, Eastern Japanese accent. So if you have a friend from Chiba, Feel free to imitate him. If you have a friend from Yokohama, there is not much difference from Tokyo. So yeah, definitely the eastern side, eastern central Japan would be the accent you want to imitate. Now, of course, if you're planning on moving to, let's say, Osaka, then by all means learn the Kansai accent, no problem. But be careful with places like Aomori or, for example, what is it called? The Okinawa, because those are not accents; those are actual different languages. And I myself, I can speak standard Japanese all day long, and I can understand Kansai accent, no problem. But if someone from Okinawa starts speaking their own language, which is called Uchinaguchi, I won't have a clue what they are on about. And when Okinawa people speak standard Japanese, they have a very thick accent. So I remember that when I was in Kyoto, because as you know, I lived in Japan for 4 years. When I was in Kyoto, I met there was like a school trip from Okinawa going on. So there were a lot of Japanese high school people. And one high school girl talked to me because I'm a foreigner, of course. In Japanese, they like foreigners. They talk to foreigners. So she talked to me and she asked me where I was from, and I said I was from Italy. We spoke Japanese. She commended my Japanese, and I said, hey, thank you so much. Where are you from? And she's like, Okinawa. I'm like, gosh, I can tell. Like, the accent was very thick, and I had to focus. I was like, what is this girl on about? So again, if you meet, it's not the only person from Okinawa I've met. I've met other people from Okinawa, but it's different when you have someone from Okinawa who moved to another section of Japan. They still have the accent where they kind of lose it. But when you meet someone who lived his entire life in Okinawa, and then you just meet them and start speaking standard, sometimes it can be overwhelming. It's beautiful though. I love it very much. I wanted to spend some time in Okinawa, just never did. $5 from Sargothi. Thank you, friend. Greetings from Syracuse, New York. Cool, you've got the name of a Sicilian town. I know you cover video games sometimes. I was wondering how realistic the armor in Gloria Victis. Did I play Gloria Victis? Maybe I didn't. And actually, you have just reminded me of a game I wanted to try. So thank you for that. I'll check it out. Perhaps I'll make a video. I did make a video on Examina. Does that have something to do with it? Kind of recall that there is something that these games have in common. But yeah, I recently made a video on Examina, the combat system and the armor. So why not? Gloria Victis could be another one. Petition to get muskets and arquebuses in Fallout 4. Oh yeah, that would be fun. I've been playing Fallout 4 through PlayStation Now, and that could be cool. Okay. So, let's see. Hey Metatron, greetings from Turkey. What do you think about the Ottoman Empire? Fascinating empire, fascinating section of history. Definitely something that is worth looking into. I'm not very versed in it because, you know, at the end of the day, eventually you have to specialize. Particularly when you go dive into content creation. As you know, I specialized mostly on Roman, medieval, European, Japanese, feudal. Even Iron Age Japanese. As you know, I did make some videos on Iron Age Japanese, and I started making stuff on Chinese. I'd liked it. I was downloading PDF stuff and books on Korean weapons and armor as well, because I wanted to open a subsection of the channel on that. Again, if it's something that you can find interesting, because at the end of the day, I make my content for you guys. I mean, I do rewatch my own content, so I am self-entertaining from that point of view, but I mostly make the content for you. So that's why I sometimes speak a lot about views. It's not just because of the numbers, but it's because it kind of tells me. So views and likes to dislike ratio tells me what you guys like, and comments, of course. So thank you for those. Simon the Digger asks, what do you know about traditional Chinese sword polishing methods throughout history? Did they do a basic mirror polish, satin finish, or they brought out some features with etching special polish? I'm not very versed in that. And also I think I would imagine it would change dramatically depending on the material. I did make a video on a specific Chinese sword from the Bronze Age, from the Han dynasty, you can find on the channel, and this video actually went very well apparently in China, which surprised me considering the fact that YouTube is not allowed in China, but probably a lot of people just bypass the block through whatever they use, software. And quite a lot of people watched that video made on the sword of Golan, I think it was. And bronze Chinese swords I find spectacular, and I do believe they were mirror polished. I do believe they were mirror polished. But apart talking about etching and special polish, I don't really know. So sorry for that. Okay. Question from the Coast Hero. Why did medieval Italian infantry was made of light infantry shieldman with large tower shields and spear sword? Here's the thing. With Italian history, things change a lot. Things change a lot over time. And I personally find fascinating the changes in the development of shield. And as you know, I did make a video briefly talking about this and on the channel, the top 10 most effective shields in history. And on that video, if you haven't watched it, I talk a little bit about the whys and the reasons why in Italy some things went the way they did. And definitely, I mean, at the end of the day, light infantry with a shield is not very costly. So I think we would have to look at city-states specifically, because it's very different. When we look at Rome, we have one centralized government controlling everything. When we look at late medieval history, then we have city-states, and each state does what it wants to do, and each state has to, it's its own political micro-universe, and it's its own, and it needs to take care of its own things. This was common as well in Germany sometimes. And militia is a very different thing. So raising, buying in bulk stuff because you don't have a centralized government in backing up invasions, but you have defenses. So you have to invest, you have some money that you have to invest on rigid defenses and permanent defenses such as towers and whatnot and gates. And then you have some money you have to invest from taxes into arms and armor. And then of course it's different. It's not the same thing as having a professional army of soldiers that do just that, like in the times of Rome, and that they're going to pay their own equipment, having it removed, deducted from their pay on a monthly basis. That's what Rome did, basically installments. So I would imagine, a light infantry with rotella or palvese, and definitely the spear are a lot less expensive. I mean, the spear is cheap, it's easy to use, and it's very effective. So that already, I think, answers your question in a way. Another $5 from Sagothis. Thank you, friend. One more request. Besides Gloria Victoris, I'd also like to see your input someday on the Teutonic Empire and the unique armor. Yeah, Teutonic. I love Teutonic. I mean, the Teutonic looks. It's great. Sometimes, I'm very much into the Templars, but the Teutonic, bro. Definitely. I think, don't I have a video on the Teutonic Knights? I know I made one on the Knights of Spitalia. I made a couple on the Templars. Did I make a video on the Teutonic Knights? I made over 900 videos, so sometimes I get confused. I'll see if I did. If I didn't, I'll make a video about it. And we've got $5 from Kathy Vancor. Thank you so much for your donation. It is very much appreciated. I really appreciate it, guys, when you do donations through your hard-worked money. Thank you so much. Yes, the Battle of Alesia. I have promised that one, and I will make it. I'm just trying to look at how battle videos are doing lately. Not particularly well, but I'll see what I can do. Roma Invicta, absolutely. And also, by the way, interestingly enough, I made a video a long time ago, which was a request from Knight Errant, from Mirna Spina, which was a tutorial on ecclesiastical Latin, on how to pronounce, and basically it's a tutorial on how to do the Lord's Prayer in Latin, which I did. And it's going incredibly well. It's got like 150,000 views. I'm like, goodness gracious, that was like a request tutorial I just made for a friend, and look at that. So, and quite a lot of people have been asking me to make other Catholic prayers in Latin, which I don't mind. I mean, at the end of the day, I know classical Latin and I know ecclesiastical Latin. So if tutorials can help people, why not? So you might see that appear eventually. De absolvat a peccatis tuis. Thank you for that. My sins has just been absolved, apparently. So yeah, who is this? Who is that? Metatron I want to become, says Lord Jaw 96. Metatron I want to become a writer. Well, good luck to you. Any books you recommend, historical ones preferably. And it depends what. It depends if you're going to write a historical novel or if you're going to write a fantasy novel with some history behind it. It depends if you are setting it in medieval times, if you're setting it in the Norse area. It depends on a lot of things. If you are setting it on medieval times, you should read the what is it called? There you go, Armour of the English Knight from Dr. Capwell. But really anything from Dr. Capwell is going to be fantastic. You can find a lot of his lectures on YouTube, and hopefully I'd like to contact Dr. Capwell. I've been thinking about it, and I'd like to have an interview with him. So that's something I'd like to do on my channel, hopefully, if he's okay with it. Maybe I will have a poll on Patreon and here where I ask you guys to give me questions about the Middle Ages, to ask Dr. Capel, and then I'll ask him if he wants to do that. Latin or Japanese? Difficult. I love both. I really like both. Kathy Van Koor asks a question. I did have a question. How historically accurate Lothric Knights set in Dark Souls 3, particularly the helmet? I don't remember it now, the Lothric set. I'll have to look it up. But I think you're going to be happy that I am planning on making a Dark Souls 3 full armor evaluation video. That's happening. So you'll have to be a little patient, but stick with the channel because that's going to happen. Hopefully soon. Because I did make a Dark Souls video evaluation. It was mostly based on Dark Souls 1 and 2 many years ago. And I did make a part 1, never made a part 2. So I'm going to make the Dark Souls 3 evaluation. And I do have the Andora's set evaluated on the channel, so there is that. Crazy22 says, Ehi, come stai? Bene, grazie. Bene, grazie. Do you like the Falcata? Yes, I do, but I would not particularly interested in owning one. I find it an interesting weapon. Very, very tough weapon. I like it, but not one of my favorite. I'm more the classical late 13th century arming sword, one-handed sword thing, the kind of guy. That's what I like. Celto Germanica asks a question. Is Sicily really Italian? Yes, it is. We are Italians, absolutely. 100%. It was funny because when I was a teenager, as you know, I was living in England, and I remember that one guy said, I was having dinner with a bunch of Englishmen, and one guy said to me, you're Sicilian, so you're not Italian. And I'm like, mate, I'm both. I'm Sicilian and I'm Italian. And he was like, oh, so wait, is it like saying you're an Irishman from England? And I'm like, no, it's a completely different thing. So Sicily, you have to look at it as a region. It doesn't matter that it's detached and there is the sea around it. It's just another region of Italy. So it's like saying, are you an American and at the same time you are a New Yorker? You know, it's just, you belong to a region and you belong to a nation. So, yeah. Another question, Angelo Barker says, how different would you say Napoletano, Barese, Sicilian and Calabrian are? Opinions on the Kingdom of Two Sicilies. Yes, okay, very interesting. Now, Naples dialect and Sicilian dialect have got a lot more in common than, say, Naples dialect and anything from the Midlands and obviously anything from the north. So there are some words that are almost the same, but there are many other things that aren't. So I'm going to say that Sicilian as an accent is quite similar to Calabrian because we have very open vowels. That's one thing we share. Already when you cross into Campania region and you're in Naples, they start having a lot of closed vowels. And so vowels are different. But Sicilian as a dialect has got loads of words that no other dialects have in Italy. So we change a lot. We change the sentence structure. We change everything. It's almost another language. So when I lived in Naples, I could usually understand people speaking Napolitan unless they were going really deep. Like if you listen to a grandmother speaking really thick Naples dialect, sometimes I wouldn't understand. But generally speaking, I could. Turning it on the other way around, if I spoke full on Sicilian to people from Naples, usually they can only gather a few words, like the most famous ones or the ones that are similar. So it's kind of interesting because the Kingdom of Two Sicilies, you can see that there are some similarities. Definitely, you can see that some words are similar because of the interactions that you have had for a very long time between these two kingdoms. But on the other hand, the fact that Naples is in mainland, it also means that it's influenced by central regions and their linguistic characteristics. And when we put Barese into the equation, then that's a completely different one. Very, very different because it's on the other side, and so it's got a lot more Greek influence into it. It's a different thing. Sicilian is interesting because Sicilian has got Greek influence, Latin, it's got Arabic, it's got Spanish inclusions, it's got French inclusions, it's got loads. In fact, even from one city to another in Sicily, sometimes they are so different that they are not mutually intelligible, sometimes. So that also happens. Sagorthi, very generous, my friend, $20. I hope you and Scalagrim do a video together someday. I hope so too, my friend. That would be so fun. Anyway, since you're doing a full armor evaluation of Dark Souls 3, yes I am, here is your bribe due to a full armored evaluation of Gloria Victis. I'm just way too curious. Alright then, thank you so much, friend. I will do that. It might take me some time because sometimes it gets me, I am a little slower making stuff, but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Celto-Germanic again. Why are modern Italians so lazy? You'll never finish that bridge. Yeah, tell me about it. I could make a full rant of the difference between ancient Romans and modern Italians. You know, maybe I should. Maybe that could be a very cool one, like making it sarcastic and whatnot, but at the end of the day, laughing about it but telling the truth. The problem there is politicians, to be honest. It's politicians. It's just politics. That's the problem there. And it's crazy. It's crazy because people want to work. There are so many people that don't have their jobs and they want to work. It's just a mess. Italian politics is really a mess. In fact, I'm going to miss Italy, but I'm not going to miss Italian politicians. I can assure you that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. So Lord Joe 96 says, I want to see a dueling match between all members of the Community of the Sword. Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. I think Matt Easton is going to slaughter us all, but that could be fun. Absolutely. So you know what we could do? We could have me, Shad, Scalagrim, Lindy Beige, Knight Errant, Knight Squire, Snap Jelly, all of us together against Matt Easton. Yeah, I'm up for it. Oh, and we're going to be in armor as well. That would be good. We could do that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Make a video on the Satsuma Rebellion. Very interesting. Satsuma Rebellion. I did talk about the Satsuma Rebellion. In fact, if you check my video on the Matsumoto Castle, I speak about the Satsuma Rebellion on that video. And unfortunately, it's a video that did not get views. Like literally, that video didn't even get to 10k. That video was a disaster. It's a shame because I filmed it in friggin' Japan, but that's just how things are sometimes. With polearms. Sounds good. Matt versus equals sword Chuck Norris. Yes, he does. Absolutely. You know that I did go to one class of Schola Gladiatoria. He was teaching Saber, and I participated the entire lesson. And then after the lesson, was it before the lesson? No, after the lesson, Matt and I went to get some dinner in a local pub, and he paid for it as well. So thank you, Matt. Appreciate. Definitely, if Matt Easton happens to come to Sicily before I move out with his wife, I'm definitely buying him dinner out. Absolutely. Yeah. So we did that. I went to the class. It was very fun because, as far as I understand, I don't know if he still does it this way, but the way he did it when I went to London was that he would teach one, like, so say he had like one Friday saber, one Friday longsword, one Friday saber, one Friday longsword. So it was a good way. He was teaching both weapons, and it was a good way for you to organize your schedule accordingly. So pretty cool. We've got 202 people watching. Thank you so much, a lot of people. And remember that this is a monthly appointment. So every month on the 15th of the month, same time, so 8:30 in the evening, Italian time, I will always go live. So it's a monthly appointment in case you are around next month as well. You should learn Shakespearean English. Why, I ask of thee? I kind of like the thee, thy, thou thing. He cometh and things like that. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Have you ever owned a rice cooker? No, but I used a rice cooker at work because when I was in Japan, I was doing lots of different jobs. I worked as an Italian teacher. I had a class every Wednesday for a year. I worked as a translator for over 3 years. I worked as an interpreter, but I also worked in an Italian restaurant. And in this Italian restaurant, they had a rice cooker as well, and I used it a few times. And also, I used it at my friend's home, Japanese friends, of course, because every Japanese household has got a rice cooker. It's a shame we don't get them here in Italy. I wonder if they do make those in America. Why are Italians nice people? I appreciate you think so. Not all Italians are nice people, particularly if you start talking about pizza. Gosh, I mean, check out. Sometimes I'm a little ashamed because if you check out the videos on pizza and Italian pasta made by non-Italians on YouTube, you always get like hundreds of Italians complaining and being really, really aggressive. We are very defensive over our cooking. So particularly when people say things such as, oh, this is the Sicilian way or the Italian way or the Roman way of making pizza, and then they make something that has nothing to do with it, the Italians can get very, very defensive. It was actually kind of funny because once my girlfriend made the mistake I don't think she'll ever make again of sending me the picture of a pizza that she was having, and then I sent her a picture of a pizza I had in Italy, and she was like, oh yeah, but they look the same, and I exploded. We didn't argue, it was like Mo laughing, and then she looked at the pictures because I sent her like 30 pictures of my pizza, and then she looked at it again and she's like, yeah, you're right, they are very different. She never said anything like that again, so I think she understood that with Italians, you can talk about anything, you can talk. It's really funny. It's really funny because you ask an Italian to tell you about Italy, and they're gonna complain. They're gonna be like, this terrible country, we can't find a job, everything is dirty, it's a mess, we can't get anything to work, nothing works in this country, the postal service, the trains are always late. But the moment a foreigner says something like this, then we get defensive. The very same person, if a foreigner says, oh, this country, nothing works, the train, the exact same thing, then the Italian is going to be, how dare you, Italy is such a great country. Oh, this is so funny. But, it's fun. So we can complain about it, but we don't like people complaining about it. It's really funny. And it's interesting because I notice a very big difference between Italian mentality and American mentality. Because when I went to America, goodness gracious, you guys are patriotic. Like, to the roof. I went to this meeting, I think it was a local church. And there was this guy, the preacher, who was talking, and then he started saying like, hey, America is the best country in the world, and everyone was like, yeah, America. And I found it funny. Because I appreciate patriotism, but it will never happen in Italy. I can now imagine someone saying Italy is the best country in the world, and all the Italian going, yeah. I mean, that's not gonna happen. That is not gonna happen. So there is that. Really funny. But let me tell you, one thing I'm gonna do when the moment I get my visa and everything, green card, and I live in America and everything, I am getting a carry permit. I am getting a carry permit. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not moving to California. I would love to visit California, and I will, but I'm not moving to California, so I'm moving to Tennessee. And it's like moving to Texas, to be honest. Everyone has a gun in Tennessee, and so will I. So there is that. It might be a little harder if you're not an American to get the permit, I don't know, but yeah, that's going to happen. Anyways, Beretta 92. Oh, Beretta, such good guns. I cannot show you firearms on my channel because otherwise I will get demonetized. In fact, as I think I told you already in a previous Q&A, I did go to a shooting range while I was in America, and I shot at least 5 different guns. I enjoy pistols and everything. I enjoyed it, but I couldn't. I was considering, like, I asked my girl, I was like, hey, can you film me? But then we thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? Never mind, because I can't risk demonetization, and it will happen. So there's that. Anyways, yeah, there is that. That's my state, says John Harry. What, Tennessee? Yeah, good state. I loved it. And you make sweet tea, which I tried. Sir Dimitrios says, oh my God, literally do the exact same thing in Greece. We always complain, but the moment someone non-Greek says something better, yeah, I know. And it doesn't surprise me because Greek and Italians, we are freaking cousins, if not brothers. We are very similar. We have got very similar positive things, and we have got very similar negative things. We've got good cuisine, we love olive oil, we've got breathtaking landscapes, we've got everything in terms of nature and beauty. We've got a very deep history, but then we've got a mess of political situation. You know, we have lots of problems in getting stuff to work, and so yeah, very similar. I'm gonna say Italy and Greece, very, very similar. Greg says, Viva Italia, Viva Bari, Viva Bitonto. Okay, cool, why not? So there is that. I'm from the south and sweet tea is terrible. I actually liked it. It is very sweet. I'll give it. It is very sweet. So if you're not into very sweet things, then yeah. But I am into sweet things. I mean, I'm Sicilian. What do you expect? Do you know that Sicily is actually super famous for sweets? So let's say that you have a week in Italy and you really want to try Italian food. Well, one thing you should do is travel around, because you want to get the best tortellini, you got to go to the north. You want to get the best pizza, you got to go to Naples. You want to get the best focaccia, you got to go to Genova. And you want to get the best sweets and desserts, come to Sicily, you know, gelato and whatnot. So each region has its specialty. And when I say specialty, I mean pizza is good everywhere. But the moment you try Naples pizza, it's a complete different universe. Even for an Italian, it's mind-blowing. Someone says, what do you think about pineapple and pizza? It's heresy. And then again, gelato is good everywhere in Italy. But the moment you try gelato in Palermo, it's going to blow your mind. Like that, because it's amazing. It's amazing. And it's funny because I've tried this with so many people. It doesn't matter if they're Italian, it doesn't matter if they're foreigners. The moment they come to Palermo and I tell them, hey, do you want to try what real gelato feels like? And they're like, yeah, no, but yeah, my gelato is also good. What do you want? Then they try the gelato here and they're like, I never had gelato in my life. Like, I never seen one person in Sicily who tries gelato and goes, meh. Never happened. Never gonna happen unless they do it on purpose. Then it doesn't count. So yeah. Question from the Roberto Vera. If you had to live in the Renaissance, or Renaissance, like they say in America, city-state, excluding Venice and Genoa, which one would you like to live in? Florence. Definitely Firenze. You see, I fell in love for Firenze when I was a university student because I was studying medieval history, and Firenze is my favorite city. I mean, this could be strange for people because you know that I am very much of a Rome fanboy for Roman content. But Firenze is my favorite city. I put it above Rome. So Rome is number 2, and Palermo is my city's number 3, of course, because I have an emotional attachment to Palermo. But and Palermo is beautiful. I mean, you know, it's a Norman city. If you're interested in the Normans in Italy, you got to come to Palermo. Rome is the eternal city, so it's fantastic. But Florence just has that. It's amazing. It's full of culture, full of art. And if you're into Assassin's Creed, oh yeah, definitely you gotta visit. You gotta visit Venice. And Venice is such one of a kind. I mean, it's so difficult to choose which city. Let's say you can only visit one in Italy. So difficult. If you are a like Roman reenactor, I would say go to Rome. If you are into culture and language, go to Florence. But if you just want to experience the strangest thing and most unique thing Italy has to offer, then Venice. Because Venice is just one of a kind. I understand there is something similar in China, but still, nothing beats Venice. Like, Venice is just the water capital. Venice feels like a city that came out of a frigging Final Fantasy game. Honestly. Like in Venice, when I went to Venice, you don't catch a bus, you catch a ship bus. Mind blowing. Mind blowing. Pizza or pasta? I'm gonna say pizza. I mean, I love pasta, but if I have to choose, like live your entire, oh gosh, it's tough though. If it's like live your entire life, either without pizza or without pasta, that's a tough one. Gosh, yeah, you put me on the spot there. You put me on the spot. I don't know. Maybe I would just flip a coin. Tell you what. Yeah, I would flip a coin. So yeah. Hi, I'm Italian too, says Francesco Petrone. Benvenuto. Benvenuto. Venice, Italy. Oh, also, let's talk about the names of these Italian cities. Because if there is something that really, as a linguist, kind of drives me nuts and I complain about, is you say Palermo, but you say Venice. You say Rome, but you say Bari. It's like, why don't you say Baris or Bari? Like, why are some cities changed? Venice is Venezia, Firenze, not Florence, it's Firenze. But then you don't do it with all cities, and we do the same. I mean, we say Londra instead of London, but then we say New York. We don't say Nuova York, like translating it. So arbitrary. And I know that it has to do probably, because languages are not made by scholars, they're made by people. So most likely it has to do with the popularity of a city. It has to do with when maybe a specific city started to be nominated and used and maybe interacted more with that specific people. So I know there are a lot of reasons that go beyond linguistics, that are cultural, that are economic and whatnot, but still, it is weird. I wish people started saying Firenze more rather than Florence, but what can you do? Can you imagine if instead of saying Palermo, you said Palermite, Palermos, Palermitane, I don't know. Gosh, that's a massive donation from Sargothi. Thank you so much, $50. Okay. That's going into the full plate armor fund. Thank you so much. So thank you for that. I think with all your donations, your donations are going towards my full plate arms, so that you know that when I get that, you know where it's coming from. I didn't know you were moving to the US. Yes, I am. Now I'm just giving you money to help you. Thank you so much, my friend. That does help. I'll fund you and Scalagrim to meet. Bless you, brother. Thank you so much. I will talk to him, and I'm sure he will agree, because Scalagrim is a very cool guy. So I am sure he's going to agree with that at the moment. Italy, Canada was a bit problematic, but US, why not? And I am going to meet Thrand as well. From Thane Thrand channel, and we're going to do some testing together. We're going to have some fun. Also, because I will have to send all my armor and all my weapons over to America for the move. I am selling all my furniture, of course. I'm not going to send a sofa, but I am sending stuff, definitely. So I will have my stuff over there as well. Could be cool to just, pack up a few pieces of armor, maybe samurai, and go to meet Thrand or go to meet Scalagrim and make stuff together. Imagine that. That could be really fun. That could be really, really fun. In Turkish, London is called Londra, just like Italian. Very interesting. And it's one of those funny historical linguistic occurrences, because I mean, London is closer to the original Latin name Londinum. So we Romans made the name, then the English changed it slightly, and then we see the English version, which is based on the Roman version, and we change it again. It's kind of funny. So now the English have got a closer word than we do to the original Latin. And it happens a lot. I mean, if you think about it, the um, Latin word for museum, museum, you can see it's a lot closer to English. In Italian, the section, it's removed and replaced into a simpler o, so it becomes museo. And also in some regions in Italy, the S, when it's in between vowels, it's pronounced like a Z. Not all regions do it, but some regions do. And that did not happen in classical Latin. If you're doing ecclesiastical Latin, it's fine. You can make your S pronounced Z, that's okay. But in classical Latin, absolutely not. So museum, not museum, it's museum in classical Latin. But in modern Italian, you can say museo, which is standard, or you can say museo if you are Southern, which is closer to Latin actually. But in English, they kept the section. Very interesting. And another $20. Thank you so much. Oops, I found the armor. I forgot to pay for the shipping and handling. Oh, mate, you're funny. Yeah, very cool guy. Thank you so much for your donations, friend. I very much appreciate it. I know this is hard work money, and it's really, I don't take it lightly. Thank you so much. This is really helping. Here's a very good question. Emir Ali Demirel says, why ancients prefer short sword instead of like long medieval ones? Well, one thing that is important to understand is that it's not just a tactical or strategic choice. That was the length used in classical times. So for a Roman, the sword he was using was just a sword, it wasn't a short sword. That was the length of swords. Now, did the Romans have the technology to make longer blades? In the late empire, yes. In early times, one thing you need to understand is that the longer the blade gets, the more easily it will get broken. So it's harder to make a longer blade. So the metallurgy that they had in medieval times was more advanced, and so it was easier for them to make longer blades. And even in Japan, I mean, nodachi, most of the times, particularly when they weren't used in battle anymore, were more of a way for a smith to show off his skills than anything, really, or something used ceremonial and whatnot. And I don't use the word ceremonial lightly, because I know that historians love the word ceremonial for anything. It's like, hey, we don't know why they did that. Ceremonial. We don't know what this is. Ceremonial. And what about that? Aliens. Well, that's, History Channel and Gaia summed up for you. But ceremonial and aliens, that's what they get. But apart from that, so longer blades that can also be used effectively. You need, better quality steel, higher understanding of metallurgy. So I believe it's not just the way that it was used, that too, but it's also the fact that it was a lot easier. And remember that these weapons were mass produced. And yes, you could have, let's say that you had a few smiths in Italy that could make longer, reliable blades. You are still going to have to supply 6,000, 12,000, 30,000 men of your legions somewhere, let's say, in Britannia. How are you going to get, you don't know the quality of the smiths over there. And if you do, it's a lot easier to make short swords anyways. And together with the Sculptum, they work fantastically. So big shield, small sword, no problem. Small shield, big sword. It's compensation, I believe. £5 from Tortoise Hallion. Thank you, friend. Why do you think Rome post-Marian reforms did not have archers, skirmishing, and gave all soldiers to pila? Plus, why do we not hear about Rome using bows at all? Well, Rome did use bows, but they used them as auxiliary. They didn't train archers, but they paid people who already knew how to use the bow as auxiliary. So whenever you hear about auxiliary troops, that doesn't only include cavalry, it doesn't only include light infantry, but it also sometimes includes slingers, includes bowmen, etc. Now, on the tupila, we think they used tupila. We don't have definitive proof. The javelin is something you don't really need that much training to use effectively. than you do with bows. Remember, to use a bow effectively, a war bow, you need a lot of training. I train with throwing the pila, the pilum, and to be 100% honest, I had this 17-year-old boy training in Roman gear with me once for a video, and after he threw the javelin 10 times, he was already better. It took him 10 times, and he was already more precise. So I would imagine that that's one of the reasons you don't need as much training. And yes, it was a heavy infantry focused kind of army, but it did have auxiliary. So, and then remember, at the end of the day, the difference between auxiliary and citizen army is that citizens army is raised, funded, and trained by the government. Auxiliary, it's just paid. So I think it just made things easier to organize in a way. It's organizational mostly. But they did use archers in ancient times. Not as much as like, say, Henry V, but they did. Robert Wilson, we've got $10. Thank you. Do you have any opinion on the original Irish language? I love it. I love it. Anything Celtic or Gaelic, it's fantastic. And I wish the Irish kept it more. I think it should be taught. I think it's a cultural asset. And just like Welsh is, like Gaelic, just like the Celtic languages spoken in Scotland are, it's something that should not be completely replaced with English. And I understand that with the younger generation, I mean, I spent some time in Wales, and when I was young, and only the elderly knew Welsh. The youngsters just know English, and it's a shame. So yeah, with the Irish, definitely. I wish something was done to preserve it more. I know that something is done. I know there are people who learn it at university, and I know that there are people who speak it. It's just that I would teach it as a mandatory subject in school to remember your heritage as Irish. That's what I would do. But then again, it's just me. At the end of the day, we do learn loads of things that are not useful at school. I mean, as a school teacher, luckily I teach something that is really useful. Languages are a skill that you really need. But as Dave from Boyne Band sang about, loads of the things we learn at school are pointless. Particularly because school, even at a higher stage, I think, as an educator, even from middle school, I'm not saying kids, but even from like very young children, but even from middle school, you should have school that are oriented towards a specific career path, in my opinion. Because otherwise you just waste so much time memorizing stuff that you were never going to use, and you don't know how loads of other things that are actually practically useful work. So there is that. Andrew Salhani, $10, thank you. I am in Tennessee as well. Cool stuff. From what I can find, it is no harder for a green card holder to get a permit than it is for a citizen. That's good to know. So yeah, I'll get my permit. Sargothi says you need a permit to carry a pistol in public. You can carry a rifle without a permit. Really? Well, I don't know about that. Well, of course I will talk to who I need to talk to make sure I do everything properly. What I'm allowed to do, I'll carry. And for all the rest, yeah, I'll get all the things I need. Do you have any opinions on, and that's 10 euros by Dude and a whole bunch of numbers. Thank you, friend. Do you have any opinions on Göbekli Tepe archaeological site in Turkey? I've never studied it, so I don't know. But in general, Turkey is a place that is not very often mentioned, unfortunately. If you think about it, the entire community of the sword, we mostly focus on England, we focus on Italy, we talk about France, we occasionally talk about Germany, but we don't really talk much about Turkey, and we should, because there is so much that could be said. I'll see if I can do that myself. You see, these are very deep subjects. Even if I had, you know that my channel is multicultural, but even if I had a channel entirely focused on Japanese stuff, 1,000 videos just scratching the surface. So there is so much that can be said that sometimes it's not easy to select a specific topic. And oftentimes I don't just select certain topics because I find them more interesting, but it's also because, they attract more attention towards my channel. And it's funny, sometimes people accuse me of being Eurocentric. Eurocentric. I think I made 100 videos on Japan, China, but I'm Eurocentric apparently. Well, what can I say? And I also made videos on Egypt, but people forget that Egypt is Africa, for some reasons. So I did make African content actually, but people forget that, and they're like, oh, Eurocentric. Mate, I've got like 3 videos on Egypt. How am I Eurocentric? Yes, I like European Middle Ages. I do. Yeah, I can't hide it. Nor do I want to. But there you go. People get offended about everything. It is ridiculous. Yeah, and I did stop caring. I noticed someone telling me, don't worry about that. Yeah, no, I do. I don't. I mean, I just find it amusing, that's all. But there is that. There is that. Oh gosh. Why do you never talk about the Eastern Roman Empire? I did make a video on the later Roman Empire, but I didn't specifically focus, and I do have a video on the difference between the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire in a comparison. Imagine that, Western Roman Empire versus Eastern Roman Empire. That's going to be a big one. The only reason why I haven't made it is because it's one of those videos that it's going to take me forever to make. Generally speaking, my VS series is the series that takes the longest to produce. So whenever any of my VS videos, whether it be Chinese Empire versus Roman Empire, late Roman army versus whatever, late medieval army, Agincourt forces, each of those videos took about 2 weeks in the making. And when I say 2 weeks, I mean something in the lines of 8 hours a day. So it's a ton of hours, and I do it because that is my most successful series. Luckily, those videos get a minimum of 100k, 200k, 500k, a couple of million views. So definitely worth it, but it does take a lot of time to make. So yeah, definitely I will make that. It is planned, but we'll see when. We'll see when. Even, China versus Japan will be a cool one. Very cool. We'll see. Francesco Petrone says Romanian comes from Latin. Yes, it is a Romance language. So there are some words that are similar to Italian and others that are totally different. And that is because it's a language that yes, it's a Romance language, but it does have a certain level of Slavic influence into it, which, for example, French doesn't or Italian doesn't. So you will find words that are similar. When I hear Romanian, to me, it sounds like an Italian dialect sometimes. That's how it sounds like. For some reasons, it gives me that impression. We have got 20 some currency called NOK. Donation from Cinema Critic. Thank you. I suppose that looks like a YouTube channel, so I'll see if you are. I'll check you out. Are you going to learn German's opinions on the Sami? I don't really know much about Sami, so I can't really give an opinion, but am I going to learn German? I am going to learn some German. In fact, one thing I like doing as a sort of fun service, that some people accuse me of flexing when I do that, but one thing I do on this channel is that I always make the occasional video on another language. And if you look at the actual title of my channel, it's Metatron, but then it says Multilingual Historical Education and Gaming and Entertainment. So with the multilingual stuff, I mean that I make the occasional video in Italian for my Italian fans. I made a full video in French. I made a full video in modern Greek. I made a video in Latin. There is a full video in Latin on this channel. And I made a full video in Chinese and a full video in Japanese. So am I going to make a full video in German? Absolutely. And again, some people say, oh, you're just flexing. No, I have a skill and I use it, and I use it to make people happy, because I know for a fact that if I watched a full video from Scalagrim or from Lindbergh or from Scalagrim in Italian, it would blow my mind. I'd be like, whoa, he's speaking my language. That's why I do it. I do it because I can, since I used over 13 years of my life studying languages. So why not using the skill since it makes people happy? So yeah, it will happen. I will make a video in German, and you'll be like, if you don't know German, how are you going to do it? I'll study it, no problem. And yeah, I'll do that. So eventually, I don't make it I don't make it too often because I know that my audience is here. Most of my audience understands English. So, of course, the main will always be English. But if I make a video in another language every 50 videos, I don't think it's going to be a problem, and it's going to make people happy. And I always provide subtitles, anyways, for those who don't know that language. So it's fun. It's fun to do. In fact, I'm going to make a video in Japanese soon, and it's going to be a video on the medieval European knight in Japanese. So at first I wanted to make a video in Japanese about the samurai, but then I thought, if this is a video that is gonna bring in some new audience from Japan, then I should make it about something Western. Because guess what? As someone who lived in Japan, guess what? Western people love Japan. Japanese love the West. It's always like this. We always like the neighbor's grass, don't we? So if you want to attract the Japanese audience, I think you should make a video about the knights. I mean, think about it. Who made Dark Souls? Who made so many video games that show European-looking people with blonde hair and blue eyes, or black hair and blue eyes and whatnot, and green eyes, wearing medieval plate? It's the Japanese. The Japanese are frigging in love with our stuff as much as we are with theirs. So my video will be about the knights. I'm going to talk about the knights in Japanese. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. Cinema Critic says, you have to know you are the one who got me interested in languages, and I've been learning German for over a year now. Good for you, friend. Good for you. I'm glad that you are. At the end of the day, I used to make more language content than I do now. I think now I make like one language video every 100. And the reason being, they don't get views. So I just can't justify the time to produce one, unfortunately. And that's why language content is now entirely, almost entirely, not entirely, but almost entirely relegated on Patreon. Because whenever I make a language video on Patreon, I am getting, there is a return, a monetary return, and therefore I can justify even a 10 hours in the making, because it doesn't matter if it doesn't get the views, okay? And so yeah, you will find, if you're interested in my linguistic stuff, there will be Japanese lessons, there will be Italian lessons on Patreon, and I will make them accessible for the lowest tiers. So literally $1, and you can watch all the content I published. I'm not going to make it like, super expensive. What is expensive on Patreon are the one-on-one lessons on Skype, but that is because if I make those cheap, I would have too much request, and I won't be able to do it. So I have to make those, the price that I chose is what I get paid anyways from schools. But yeah, there is that. Let's see. Di che città italiana sei? So Francesco Petrone just asked me from which Italian city I'm from, and I'm from Palermo. Siciliano sono, Siciliano. I just said it with a Sicilian accent. That was funny. I never really speak like that, but anyways. Yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. So, Celto-Germanic asks, what defines a man? And in your opinion, what makes a good life? Well, that's we are changing completely the spectrum of this discussion. And I'll just briefly answer. This is like a very big one, but I'll just briefly answer with my opinion. What defines a man? I think a man is someone who provides for those who loves, who's ready to defend his ideals, and someone who can come back home and say that he has tried his hardest to do his best in life. And that's, for me, a definition of a man. And what makes a good life? Well, if it makes you happy, friend. At the end of the day, I don't think making a lot of money is a definition of a good life. And this is something that I believe people should learn early in life, because otherwise you'll end up running after money your entire life, and then when you have money, you won't have youth anymore. So I think it's good if you are... what I seek is doing a job that allows me to be safe, economically speaking. So I make enough of my expenses and maybe some extra. But even if I get offered like more extra hours to make more money, well, unless that money is needed for a specific project or maybe to pay for a family member who needs whatever surgery, then yes, I can justify it. But if it's just for making more money, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say I prefer having some free time to spend with the people I like and doing the things I like. And that's the way I live my life. I'm not saying that this is the right way of doing it. You know, if you go your own way and it's different from mine, but it makes you happy, go ahead. But that's what makes me happy. So trying to find a balance between freedom of doing what you want, and free time, and being productive. $2 from Patrick Starr. Thank you. Do you ever consider getting a Yoroi armor? Huh. So you mean the oldest? Because as you know, I do have a Tosei Gusoku. I do have samurai armor, but it's not well. Is it a Yoroi? Yoroi is. I think you mean the O Yoroi, so the oldest version, and to which I will say no, because I already have samurai armor, and yes, it's a different one because it's a 16th century, and I suppose you mean you're referring to the Heian Jidai, the Heian period sort of heavier kind of armor. But I'm going to say no, because any money I have is now going to be funded into the knightly set and the Genoese crossbowman impression. These are the two things I'm funding money now, whether it comes from Patreon or whether it comes from crowdfunding or the super chats. That's what I'm funneling this now, because that's what I don't have at the moment. So I can reenact an impression of a Republican Roman, an Imperial Roman, a samurai, but I cannot reenact a knight at the moment. And so that's why. So we've got 10 euros I hadn't noticed again from Dude, I think. Oh yeah, no, you did ask me. Yeah, the archaeological site. So sorry again if I don't see all comments, but there are a lot. So we've got another question. Will you ever voice act for hentai? No, not interested. I'm gonna need some water because I've been speaking a lot. 2 hours. So you'll have to excuse me for a moment, and I'll leave you for a moment with my Roman helmet, and I'll go get myself some water, and I'll be right back. Hello? What did you tell my helmet? There you go. Let's move the helmet back. Well, there you go. It was kind of cool there on the side. Okay. Do you have armor of a Roman tribune? You would have to get, in that case, well, you could use Hamata, believe it or not. We know that some Roman, officials, officers would just use that. But if you want to be fancy about it, yeah, you could go for a full musculata, which I would love. I would love a musculata, but it has to be well made. Nothing like, mass produced. I know the Pustelak brothers on Facebook, they make excellent musculata, but it costs like 3,000 euros. So probably like 3.2, I think, K, US dollars. So not in the near future. A donation in SEK from Oddman Shredder, 20 SEK. Thank you so much. Would you come for the Battle of Wisby reenactment? Oh, I would love to. I have been considering going around and then joining lots of different reenactment events and even some LARP events. Why not? I mean, just for fun. So when I'll see if I can do something before I move to America, and definitely when I will be in America, I am definitely going to Days of Nights, which is the event run by Ian Laspina. I am going there. Do you work in a museum, says Jabba the Hutt? No, I don't. That would be cool. That would be cool, but no. Let's see. What about some Chinese or Mongolian history? Will you make some? I am making the next VS video planned, and I am already doing the research for it, so this is confirmed. Is going to be the Mongolian horde versus the Roman Imperial Army. So that's in the making. It's going to take me some time. It's going to take me a minute. but it's gonna happen. Okay, what is your favorite foreign food? One thing I really liked was dumplings in Czech Republic. Gosh, guys, dumplings in Czech Republic, you gotta try it. Go to Prague and have your dumplings. So good, so good. And then ramen, of course. Ramen is fantastic. I don't care if people call me a weeaboo for it. I love it. I love ramen. I could eat ramen every day. $5 from Robert Wilson. Thank you for your donation, my friend. And I don't know if you guys know it, but these donations that I get here are actually become a boost onto my AdSense. So every month we YouTubers get a check, well, not really a check, but we get money from AdSense. And to that, at the end of the month, they add the super chat. So thank you for that. It really helps because AdSense has been going down, like really down. I did experience, now it's growing again, finally. I think it's because I'm putting forth more content and the videos are being more successful. But 3 months ago, the AdSense went down to the point that I was making almost a seventh of what I used to make through AdSense. So that was a big, so this helps because it kind of boosts. Thank you so much. And Robert Wilson says, have you ever considered buying the Roman Aquila eagle that Cult of Athena has? Well, first and foremost, Cult of Athena doesn't send to Italy, to Sicily. So there is no, I did check and they don't. Now, once I moved to the US, I could start using Cult of Athena. It's just that a lot of the things on that site, it's a site that has some good things and a lot of mass-produced rubbish. I'll be honest. So it's not that everything they have is not good, but a lot of things need to be double-checked and triple-checked and quadruple-checked. I know it's the favorite place for Scalagrim. I respect the man. It doesn't mean I have to agree with him with everything. I'm not a big fan of Cult of Athena. Still, they do have some cool things. So perhaps I will buy for them. I'm not telling you don't buy from Cult of Athena. Please do. If you, at the end of the day, if there are things you like, get them. And some of the things they have are good. But not everything on that site is good. Some of the things are just... I prefer Craftsman. I mean, at the end of the day, Craftsman can be a pain in the neck. You send them 20 emails and they never answer. They take forever to make stuff. But stuff that is made from Craftsman is superior to mass-produced stuff. There's just no questions about it. So this is why I always, like loads of people tell me, what site do you suggest? And I always say, no site. Craftsman, guys. Craftsman. It doesn't matter if it's your soft kit, if it's your hard kit. Craftsman. That's it. It's the best thing ever. Do you support, that's a funny one, my Uncle Pete, oh gosh. Do you support the restoration of the Italian monarchy? Well, considering the fact that they will surely choose the wrong person for it, I'm going to say no. Let's keep it a republic. Let's make a republic, yeah. Have you inherited any of your father's artistic talent? Not really, no. But talking about my father's artistic talent, actually, he has got quite a lot of his paintings for sale now because he said he wants to help me move to America. So I am going to make a video dedicated to all the paintings he's going to sell. And not because he's my father, but he is a really good painter. Because he's not one of those painters that, you know, paints something and you can't even recognize it. It's like photographic. So I'll make a video dedicated for it. And there will be, of course, a special prize for Noble Ones. And we'll see. We'll see. Jabba the Hutt says, why Tennessee, if you don't mind me asking? Because my girlfriend is from Tennessee. So I'm moving to her place. So there is that. You're really moving to America? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've already sold quite a lot of things I have here. And so, yeah, absolutely. I just have to see how long it takes me to, because I do need to have rainy funds set aside. I can't just move to another. And I mean, I had the experience. I moved to England when I was a teenager on my own. I moved to Japan immediately after university, and now I'm going to move to America. So it's not the first time I moved to another country. I have gone through the experience. I know the hardships and the exciting parts of moving to another country. And one thing I know for sure, you need funds for rainy days when you move to another country, absolutely. So once I've got that covered, yeah, I'll make the move. It's a funny one. Are you misbehaving so badly? Your dad wants to get rid of you. No, no, no. My dad is such a supportive man. He's really good one. He's really good one. Nonsense Boy says, ciao, ti seguo dall'Italia, complimenti per il tuo lavoro qui su YouTube, sei più unico che raro. Well, thank you so much. So he's saying that he's been following me from Italy and he likes my work. He even said that I'm a very unique content creator and I appreciate for that. Thank you so much for your kind words. You know what I should make? I should make a video where I read mean comments for fun, because I do get quite a few. Not that many. Mostly my videos, luckily, have got a very high likes to dislike ratio. There's a massive difference. Like I get, I don't know, thousands of likes and maybe a few hundreds dislikes and whatnot. But you know, when I do get haters, they get really creative. They really get creative. So I'm gonna select the 30 meanest comments that I ever got, and I'm gonna make a video about it. So we're gonna have a laugh together, because yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah. Noel Abbott, wow, a great father, let us know so we can share the video. Oh yeah, absolutely, I will make a dedicated video, and of course I'll tell my patrons about it. I'll tell my people who follow me on Facebook and whatnot. So we'll do that. I think it's very kind of him, to be honest, because he has painted, my dad has painted for 30 years. So he has like over 300 paintings, and he's going to sell quite a few of those to help me out. I think it's very nice. It's very kind of him. It's one of those tales that I can tell my grandchildren, my American grandchildren, American Italian, because my children, if I will have children and they will be born Americans, they will speak Italian, I can tell you that. I can tell you as much. I am speaking Italian to my kids. They're not going to forget their heritage. So there is that. You're moving to America, $5 from Topith, Sick One, thank you. Thank you so much. We'd be glad to have you here in the States. Well, thank you for being welcoming. Good luck with your move, man. Also, Tennessee is beautiful, coming from a Texan. Yeah, Tennessee is very nice, very green. I mean, I really appreciated it. I very much liked it. Although I did need to get used to the accent. It took me a little bit, because I noticed, I mean, I couldn't put on an American accent to save my life. But I noticed one thing about people in Tennessee is that they have, because first I visited New York for 6 days and I noticed a few characteristics of the New York accent. And then when I went to Tennessee and I spent 30 days in Tennessee, I noticed that they have very different things from people in New York, linguistically speaking. And one thing I noticed is that in Tennessee, some people, like if I were to pronounce with my accent, I would say French fries. I noticed that some people were saying like French fries. Like they don't say the I, it becomes like a ah sound. And at first I was like, do what? Did you what? Say what? It took me some time to get used to it. In some words, it's actually more confusing than others. So there you go. HS says, are there any places we can see your dad's paintings? Not yet, but that's a work in progress. I'm taking all the pictures first. Then I'm going to put them on eBay, and then I'm going to post it make a dedicated video on my channel. So that's happening. Yes. Southern accents are weird, says played PVC. Yeah, I found it interesting. I kind of like it. I like all accents. And one thing I really like about the New York accent, not every New Yorker has a New York accent, I noticed. Some New Yorkers just sound general American, but I noticed when I went to Brooklyn, and because I went to Brooklyn, I went to Harlem, I actually slept in Harlem, I went to Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan and whatnot, and when I went to Brooklyn, I noticed that there were these people who had the typical New York accent, so it's still there, some people still have it, you know, with the, I don't know if I can put it on, but you know, instead of saying sausage, they were like sausage, or they had this or sound that I found really cool. I liked it. I loved it. It was cool. It was really funny. So yeah. And gosh, people in New York are really like, everything is hectic. Everyone is running around and jumping around, and yeah, very different from very slow Tennessee, you know. In Tennessee, everyone was like, yeah, take your time. You know, it was nice. I liked it. Sweet tea and whatnot. Thank you, Sagothi. You've been very generous, my friend. I gotta go, he says. $5. Thank you. I'll patiently wait while you look at Gloria Victis. Oh, yes, I will. I promise you that I will. Here in New York, many of us speak Russian and French. Oh, do you? For those on the north border. I didn't know that. I wonder why. Pretty cool. Thank you for coming and thank you for your support, friend. It was good to have you here during this live stream, and I will do another live stream next month on the 15th. It's a monthly appointment. So yeah, hope to see you then again. Yeah, Noel Ebert says, ha ha ha, southern accents, it's slow and there are extra vowel sounds. Oh yeah, and guys, it was ridiculous. When I went, ridiculous in a positive way, I don't mean it in a bad way, but I went to the supermarket, right? And you have to picture, I'm in Nashville, okay? So I go to the supermarket and this woman stopped me and she asks something, and I don't even remember what it was, something about, I don't know, some grocery being somewhere. And I know for a fact she was expecting me to be, I don't know, someone from there maybe. Well, not from my looks, but you know how America is. Sometimes you've got people who look other nationalities, but they're born there. And then she hears my accent, which is completely misplaced in Tennessee. I'm like, well, I don't know. I think it might be over there in the corner. And she panicked. She was like, whoa, what's that accent? She actually said that. It was really funny. And then she asked me if I wanted to go out dancing, and I said no. Another donation, 15 NOK from HS. Love your content. I'm glad you do. I'm glad you do. Thank you so much for your generosity. Metatron, more like Meteron. I don't know what that is. But yeah, it was. Believe me, I think me moving to Tennessee is really going to be funny. It's really going to be funny. But yeah, and I do plan on building a Roman reenactment team there. Hopefully, I'll find enough people interested in it. Maybe I might even by then have some money that I can invest on loaner kits, and have people join in, you know, having fun in Roman gear. That would be really cool. And then we can go to Clash of Iron and other Roman events. I'll definitely participate with Legio 14th and other guys, and it will be really cool. Yep. And one thing I'm definitely going to do when I'm in America is I want to see sites of the War of Independence and all the other things, because that's another aspect, historical aspect, that I'm very interested in. You know, just simply the fact that I don't talk about something doesn't mean I'm not interested in it, and therefore, like Tennessee Legions. Yeah, there you go. We're gonna have Tennessee Legions. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, it's good. And I did go to the Nashville HEMA Club, the German longsword. I've got a video on it where I show everything, how we found the place, and you know, driving there, finding the place, training, fighting, and I will definitely be part of the Nashville HEMA Club, so Historical European Martial Arts. Okay, so we've been here for 2 hours and 7 minutes. Great. Taking the time to drink. So thank you so much, and I am gonna leave now because I think I'm gonna have to rehydrate and watch some Netflix, play some For Honor. But it was a pleasure and an honor to be with you, noble ones. Thank you so much for your support. I will publish a video soon because now I'm trying to get, you know, roughly speaking, 2 videos a week. And I will also be back for another Q&A and spending some fun time together next month on the 15th of each month. It's going to be a continuous thing. So thank you so much for coming. Sorry for those who have just arrived. But yeah, you can still rewatch this if you want to, because the video will be published and fully uploaded on the channel. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching my content. And remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Ciao ciao. Ciao ciao ciao. Grazie, ci vediamo. Ciao 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 ciao.